Guys, welcome to What If Civilization Start Over, episode 20. So, year update. Now we're in the year 1910, as we have officially passed the 1800s and we have reached the 1900s. Now I'll be doing a lot of these year updates. So, the first thing we're going to look at is a war, and a country that has been very neutral will be starting this war, and that country will be China. As China, if we look at this, is a dynasty, so that means a a a that means this is named after a person that is technically the king of this nation. So we're going to see that person die, as he was the largest ruler of China in this whole area. And now we're going to see a new leader come up and demote China from a dynasty to something that we call something close to a dynasty, but the first traces of this, a dictatorship, as China will fully become ruled by an authoritarian leader. That's like the fascist nations, but this nation wants to bring back the glory of the Chinese nation, as China, if you watched all of my Visco, used to be around here. China used to own all of this land, and all, and even I think this, and even this area that rebelled. So this used to be China's empire, so they even were once even bigger than this. So we'll see China, they even had land once in this nation. So now we're going to see China start a large declaration of war on the weakest nation to their north, as China has been. This happened a few years ago, but I didn't talk about this. But this happened a few years ago, as that leader will have made a very large military, and that leader will start an invasion, already capturing a major city, as the Chinese military is one of the biggest, as navies are pretty good, as they even make a naval landing up here. And China will fully capture the capital of this nation, as they catch up to this nation's exclave in this nation, and they use that area to capture more major cities, as this nation is not giving up, as this nation is but this nation will make a pushback in the north, even recapturing one major city and encircling Chinese troops, but that pushback will be very short, as China will move in, and we're going to see a new nation join this war, Baikal, wanting land, as they really lost land, and they capture a major city, as this will be the end of this nation, as it surrenders to China, which would be a very bad thing. So let's look at this peace treaty. This is the peace treaty. China will grow so much that they'll encompass the north of this area and this area. As we can see, this nation used to have an exclave somewhere like here. Well, China took that out of force, invaded it, and they did that because they will be planning to invade the same nation, as this nation is also, as we see, this is how we can see how China used to look like this. As we see, this nation is also very unstable, so this will lead to this same nation going from a light red stability to a dark red. Let me leave that area because it's under China now. But I'll update these layers. So we're going to see the first Chinese troops fully capture this and this, as now we see groups pop up, and they're the same groups that popped up on these two other rebellions. A very red. These are the factions that pop up. So the same factions that popped up here: Democratic faction, Communist faction, and a revolution here. A fascism revolution, but this nation has another idea. They want to add a better government, so that shows that they won't fully annex this area. So we're going to see the blue faction end up fully connecting up to their ideals and fully capturing one major city, as they will meet up with the Chinese areas, and the Chinese won't bother to give mercy as they start invading. And out of the blue, we see the Chinese start an invading this area, as they want this area for their own. And they will get so close and capture the capital, as the capital is fully captured. The default capital, it's not the real capital. And they'll use this ground to use as a landing ground and fully start moving troops into this. But we're going to see the Communist faction start connecting up with their areas, and they're gonna be the first faction to reach the capital, killing let's see, what government is this nation? Monarchy. Wow. Killing the king and his people. So this is exactly like the Russian Revolution. And we're going to see the rest of this nation not surrender, but the Chinese will do exactly the same as they did to the other factions to this. But they're, for some reason, liking the blue faction. They tell them, we're not going to invade you if you just take the land that you have and become independent, not take the government. And the blue faction, not wanting to be invaded, will gladly accept. As we see the Chinese start moving troops into the red faction, and that will be absolutely terrible for the red faction. As I was saying, that will be absolutely terrible as the Chinese start moving high amounts of troops into this occupied territory, as the capital is fully captured, and the faction is about to collapse as the faction king, and the red nation fully collapsed to the Chinese. So let's look at this peace treaty. So, this is the peace treaty. If you want to see the old borders, this is ugly. Let me just delete this layer and fully rub it. I'll show you on the stability layer the old borders. These were the old factions, as one faction actually survived out of this. If you want to see the old borders, they used to be like this. They lost these 3 lands. I don't know why. They lost those 3 lands, and they lost a lot of eastern areas, as we're going to see the Democratic faction gain independence, as it was forced to do that because the Chinese were going to invade it, and it was allowed to keep its government. As you can see, this just becomes a Chinese puppet state, as the Chinese are no longer accepting the Chinese who put a very important Chinese man from here as the leader of this country, as it collapsed. As it used to be very big, but now it's very small, like it's the size of a normal sized nation, not a big nation or anything like that. It's the size of a normal sized nation. So getting away from Eastern Asia, we're gonna go to the religious layer. As we see a large amount of religious change in the African continent, as the Europeans are no longer allowing different religions in Africa, as a large amount of area will be changing to their overlord's religion, as they are forced to do this. And the first area to do this is this area, as this area is changing fast, as the only area that will keep its religious difference is the Tanzanian country, as it's not gonna be changed because it wasn't colonized. It was no country thought of colonizing the Tanzanians, as they thought it wasn't that valuable, but that's the only place where the pink religion will survive for now, that at least. As we even see the yellow religion doing the same thing that the brown religion, the red team religion, as they even change a large amount of people in this area to become yellow religion nationalists, which is something not, as this area will fully become non-yellow religion, as the pink religion is almost fully collapsing, as it's becoming just like the green religion, which was being being destroyed and destroyed more and more until each nation in this area became yellow religions. As we see the Italians forcing their colonies to become this first country type religion, as this is a religion that nationalizes that they were the first country in Europe, that they people are the better people. It's like how the old Germans used to do. So this religion will start being forced upon even in these areas of the Italian colony, as this religion is being really forced upon its people. Even the colonial puppet states are forced to follow this religion, as this is their told religion, as they say the Italians are superior, as this is what I mean by the pink religion fully collapsing. This is, maybe it's gonna collapse, but it's still going to also survive in one nation, as it's going to survive in the Tanzanian country, as that's the only area that thinks that wasn't colonized, as I said already, the Tanzanians, was not colonized because the Tanzanians didn't believe in that type of beliefs. They didn't think that was true. So, yeah, Africa is now ruled by Europeanism. But that won't be the only area that is, as this whole area will subscribe to that, as the Adriatic Sea coast is becoming one of the most nationalistic areas to be under the Italian religion, as it's not spreading anywhere else. So that's some religious changes that's happening to the world. But now we're going to look at the countries, a large coalition forming against a country. As you know, Romania has been going on a very large expansionist quest, as Romania has been very expansionist, as it's been the only nation expanding in Europe. So we're going to see the CN, the Council of Nations, deciding to first suspend Romania's allowance into the alliance. So Romania will be fully suspended for its imperialism. But we are going to see the CN gaining members in this episode. But we're also going to see a very large coalition against the Romanians form up. And this will be a very, very large coalition against the Romanians, because most of the people in it, the people that are going to go with this coalition are the following people. And this coalition is going to be a square shape, and the people that are the first nation will be this nation that will join this coalition against the Italian Empire, which these two countries will stay neutral. Greece will also stay neutral, which is also this nation, and this nation, which is more. The Danish are going to decide to stay neutral, and we're also going to see that the Anatolians join this, but that's not all. So we're going to see this nation also deciding not to let these people force them, and people that are going to join on an alliance for this nation. The first country will be this country. The first country to join is obviously upside down. First country to join is obviously this nation. Then next is Greece, as Greece and these other nations are just puppet states for this nation. So these two nations are really confined in one area. But as I was saying, we're going to see some more nations join the Council of Nations. As those nations will include India, as India, after their collapse, they're still a very big economic powerhouse. So India will join the Council of Nations, and the next country is this nation, as they really need this. As this country also will join this council. So, we're also gonna see a special council be made by the by the country that created this council, which was Denmark. Denmark created this council to make the world better, as this council was made before any world war happened. And this council is gonna include the Danish, as they created this. It's also gonna include this nation, as those two nations are very powerful, and this nation and the last nation to be allowed entrance to the council is this nation, which I will still call Nepal. So that'll be the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.